about a topic that I get asked a lot about. That is how to communicate in a relationship without fighting. Or how I like to call it is the art of understanding. Communication really is key. And I know a lot of people say this, but few people actually know how to explain how communication works and how to do it in a way that prevents misunderstandings and arguments. So we're going to get into that a little bit. So step one is to understand that everybody has their own perception of the world and how it works. Each person lives in a reality of their own, including you. The way that you see the world is not how other people see the world. And the value and beliefs that you have may be similar with someone else, but you feel those values and beliefs in a way that are different, which creates a different experience, a different perception. So if you can understand and accept that, then you're already a step ahead of everyone else, or those that don't get that. Because perception defines what we see as funny, acceptable, or offensive. For instance, if I ask my 4-year-old daughter if she's a cow, she'll either respond yes and begin to moo, or she'll say no, and she'll say, I'm a cat, and say meow. And it's kind of funny, but that's what happens, right? If I ask my grandmother the same question, I probably won't get quite as lighthearted of an answer, right? And the words were exactly the same. Okay, I said the exact same words, asked the exact same question, but the perception of who I was saying it to completely changed the situation and the response that I can expect to get. So yeah, it may seem too simple or a little silly, but it can be applied to all relationships. When we talk to someone that we have a close relationship with, if we consider how they may perceive what we're saying before we say it, then we'll have better results and be able to communicate and get a better response. So step one, everyone has their own perception, and start to understand that they have that different perception before you say something. Step two is to create a relationship that is open and understanding. Not only can you learn how to communicate and say things that are based on the perception that somebody has, but you can also start to form a relationship where you have a shared perception and you create a shared understanding of the world. And if you don't do this, then that shared perception will get created either way. And you might not like the shared perception that is created. You don't have to agree on everything within that shared perception. You just have to understand and accept why the other person believes the way that they believe. This isn't an opportunity to try to convince the other person of anything or that their beliefs are wrong or invalid. It's an opportunity to really consider what the other person believes and to accept that their beliefs are valid and that they're part of that perception that they have. So, step two, all beliefs are valid. Start to form a shared perception. Step three is, how did you come to your conclusion, right? Your perception. It's to explain where you came up with the conclusion that you have. And many times, especially guys, we like to share our conclusion bluntly and without an explanation. And that's a lot of times the way that arguments begin, is because we share that blunt explanation. Now, I know it may feel a little tedious, but practice starting from where you got the idea. Share even a little bit of background so that your conclusion can be better understood. And this will allow those in your life to get to know you better and to better understand you. Here's an example. So if I come and say to my wife that cats are stupid and they should all die, then her, as a person that likes cats, might not take it very well. And it's kind of blunt and abrasive. And there might be a pointless argument that starts from me saying that, right? However, if I explain that I visited somewhere, there was a cat, and the cat scratched me, and it hurt, and that it made me very upset. And when it happened, it made me think that all cats are stupid and that they should die. Now, she might not agree with my conclusion, but she can see where it came from, and that there is a place of hurt and anger there. And this understanding will help her to know how to respond and how to be supportive and handle the situation, instead of getting into an argument, a pointless argument, about the value of certain types of animals. Then she'll realize that I'm talking about me and my feelings, not about cats. It completely changes the topic of the conversation when you explain where you got your conclusion from. Step 4 is step 4 for a reason. Sometimes it's the hardest one, and it's to control your pride. If your goal is to be right, then you'll miss opportunities to learn about the loved ones in your life and the things that they have learned and gained from their life. Let other people's opinions be valid. Let the way that they see reality be a valid perception of reality, and agree with them that they may be right. You can share your opinion, but when you acknowledge that someone else's opinion may be right before sharing your own, it helps them to understand that you really were paying attention to what they said, and that you're actually considering their opinion, that it might be valid, or that it might be a valid option. It's always valid. And if you say it, mean it. Pay attention to what they believe, and consider the fact that your way, although it may be completely logical to you, might not be the best way for the relationship to grow and flourish. These 4 steps can change the way that you communicate and the way that your relationship is moving. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content and to continue your journey as a warrior daddy.